let's compare the brand new iPhone against a 3-year-old iPhone. All right, so first of all, the form factor and the build. Now, the first thing you'll notice is the iPhone 14 is a little bit less wide and a little bit less tall. It's just all around a little bit smaller. But that isn't necessarily a bad thing because of, one, the screen, which we'll get to in a little bit, and because of the squared off design, which makes it feel more secure in the hand. As for the 11, it has those rounded edges, which to me just feel more comfortable. But the combination of squared off design and a little bit of a smaller size just makes the phone in the hand experience feel nicer for the 14. It's hard to explain despite being very close in size, but it's those little things that add up that just make it feel better. Next up, the display. Right off the bat, the 14 has way smaller bezels. If there's one thing that could annoy me, it has to be bezels, because just small bezels just make it feel way more premium. What's also nice is the 800 versus 625 nits of brightness. The 14 is getting significantly brighter. The 14 also has an HDR display, so the colors feel more saturated and look better than on the 11. It also has a 2,000,000:1 contrast ratio versus just 1,400:1. The colors, it's gotten beaten by a landslide. But even still, you could argue that these are just marginal differences. However, this stops when it comes to the cameras, where the iPhone 11 really starts to show its age. See, the 11 has a higher aperture, so it has way worse low light performance. And as we just mentioned, the 14 has better colors, it has better details, it has better dynamic range with that photonic engine, and it also has action mode and cinematic mode in video. So the cameras is where the iPhone 14 just really starts to pull ahead. Next up is the battery life. So with the 11, I usually end the day with about 20% battery on low power mode after having spent the day using social media, messaging, etc. But with the iPhone 14, it's completely different and a little bit crazy. See, there was one day that I forgot to put my phone to charge, and then the next day I had to spend the whole day at campus on 20% battery. Now, was I using it like crazy? No, and by the time that I got home, it was at 5%. But the fact that it stayed with power the entire time and that I could have relied upon it was pretty amazing. See, sometimes it's not about the extra power that the battery gives you, rather it's about the confidence in case anything might happen. Speaking of the battery, let's talk about the chip and the power between these two devices. So I'm gonna start this off with saying that the 11 by no means feels slow. I would say all modern phones are good at simplistic tasks, like sending text messages, using social media, etc. The differences start to show when it's these little things compounded on top of each other, like how hot the phone gets while I'm on FaceTime or I have a bunch of apps in the background. Or similarly, how many apps I can actually keep loaded in the background without any of those apps restarting. I think we're past the point of phones actually feeling slow, and now it's all about finding that limit. What's the max we can get? And when it comes to pushing these phones to the max, the 14 just feels smoother and snappier at everything. You can think of it like two windows. Even though you can see through both, one is clearly more visible. That clear window is the iPhone 14. So overall, as complete packages, there are three major differences between these devices, one of which we have not talked about yet. First of all is the camera, which, as we established, the 14 is just leaps and bounds ahead of the 11, as well as the battery life, which is probably the most useful difference between these two phones. But the third difference is where things start to take a turn, and that's the price. See, you guys want to hear something crazy? This phone right here costs $300 US. So if you think about it, this phone right here costs the same amount as the iPhone SE. Who wants that? And if you're a student like me, then price is definitely something that you're gonna keep in mind. And if you're gonna break these phones down value by dollar, then the 11 is just a much better deal. But that all depends on your needs. Now you know every difference and can make the perfect buying decision. You're welcome. And actually, you can thank me by subscribing and checking out this video right here.